Wow. 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 What's up, Collective fam? It's your boy Tony the Toy Rat, back with another rigorous resin review for new PVC, pre-used or previewed. And though this one is not brand new, it's pretty new on the marketplace, and it is the Lord of the Rings Cave Troll. This thing is huge. If you're a box collector, gonna tell you just off jump, 15 and a quarter by 15 by 13 and a quarter. So it's a massive box, but look inside. The figure is just as big, right? So, I mean, it's huge. No further ado, you've seen the box spinning around. Let's pop this sucker open. You get my review. You seeing things the same time I'm seeing them. So, got my little handy scalpel tool. As always, crack this puppy open. And I'm super excited. We got the Gandalf. And, we got the Aragorn. So, to have any of the bad guys in the group is going to be awesome. But I gotta tell you, I was like all about this here cave troll. So, we're going to yank him out of the box. Alright. Bear with me, guys. Whoop. That's what it looks like inside the casing. For those of you who are box collectors, there is nothing special in this box. It's got sort of a green background, but as you all know, we are more concerned with the environment, so please, recycle. Okay? They've been doing most of these with these little cuption sucking things, but there is tape, so tape there and tape there. Oh, here we go! Alright. Just like that, he's out of the cage. Recycle. Please recycle. Wow! Wow. Wow. So much lighter than I thought it was going to be. Really cool looking. There's so much to see here. I don't want to mess up by starting that way. So let's do a full body spin, and then we'll sit down and we'll talk about what I think about him. Okay? So let's do that now. Collector fam, you're back with me, and hopefully you are taking a look at this super cool Toy Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. There is a scene in the movie. If you haven't seen it already, I'm sorry for the spoiler. It's only like 20 years old now. But there is a scene in the film where they are rolling through the mines of Moria to make their way to destroy the ring. And during the course of their movement in the space, they make too much noise and they attract the remainder of the goblins and orcs that are underneath the mountain in the mines of Moria. More to the point, they have a cave troll. So there's an actual scene where they denote that they have a cave troll. Boromir says it out loud. And this is the perfect embodiment of that cave troll. Now, it's an older movie now, guys. It didn't just come out. But Lord of the Rings still stands true to me to be one of the best cinematic adaptations of a beloved book ever. I mean, ever. Peter Jackson and his team, I believe it's Wetaworks over there, did a fantastic job bringing everything to life. And now, finally, I get to have one of these super cool cave trolls and it's gonna sit in between my Gandalf and my Aragorn. So let's start talking about it. Now that you know a little bit about the history of where this guy comes from, if you haven't read the books and you have the time, J.R.R. Tolkien, um, he wrote a series of books that just blows your mind over the time and effort that he took to steep himself in the lore of historical facts to create elvish text and all of the little nuanced details that don't even get put into the film adaptation. I would urge you to take a look at the book. That being said, let's have a look at my favorite part, which is the statue. Real quick, let's go over some housekeeping. All right, so we are looking at, let's turn it around here. I would give 13 inches of clearance. That's what I would give, top head, so he's not squishing everywhere through there, guys. We have side to side from the furthest point out. I would give that right where my finger is at. So 15 inches. Like I said, guys, this is a really big statue. And then height, I just gave you the height. So we're going to give you the length down here. I would give no less than 11 inches. So, 13, 15, 11. That is the amount of space that you need in any given area in order to place this big guy in. What the cool part about it is, it's super light. For as much plastic is used here, it is super light. It is hollow. He is hollow all the way through here, which is the only way that we're going to be able to do that and keep the cost anywhere near affordable for us. You can see down here at the bottom, this whole base structure down here is hollow through here, right? So it's still, because of its width, this sort of platform of rock that is standing in and under this whole chunk down here makes it very stable. This thing is not going to wiggle or move. It will here on top of this surface because I've got it on the turntable, but on a flat surface, it's not going anywhere. So you don't have to worry about bracing it or putting something under it that might shiver or shake. But it creates the perfect platform for him to be able to have some movement in his legs while he's attempting to move forward with the, I don't know what that is, a bashing, swinging hammer type of thing. I'm sure there's an actual name for it. I don't know what it is. So that platform to me is kind of awesome. I bitch a lot about them doing rocks, but in this scene, they are in the cave mines of Moria. Very rocky, very acceptable. On top of that, on the base here, I'm going to lift it up here so you guys can take a look. Hopefully you guys can see that under the legs. There is some sort of like driftwood pieces under there. There are a number of skulls that you can see. Oddly enough, I thought they would be dwarven skulls, and they do seem a little more human. That might be a tiny miss. Maybe these are dwarven skulls, and I'm just looking at it wrong. Dwarven shield. On this side, we have the hammer, and then there is an axe. So those are sort of just strewn about onto the rock surface that he's walking on, which it just makes the scene a lot more dynamic, palpable with death, right? You've got these skulls that are all sitting around. One of them still has his helmet on. So he died, got decapitated, and then has been here so long that there isn't any flesh on him at all. It is just a skeleton with a helmet on, which is really creepy but also very cool. They should have some hair or something. The texture on the rock is phenomenal. It really looks like it should look, which is the mountainside, some sort of rocky terrain. They do a great job with pitting the sides of the rocks to make it look like there are lots of little small divots and shapes that are broken around, and that to me gives it a much more realistic feel and tone. Okay, enough about the base. That's just the base. We haven't even started talking about this guy yet. Massive in scale, but almost perfect in every way. Again, hopefully at this point you guys are watching this because you've seen Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, at least once in your life. I've probably seen it like 3,000 times. But in this scene that we were discussing with the cave troll is imminent, and he is upon the team of the Fellowship and trying to kill pretty much everything. He's whipping around a chain that is around his neck. He's whipping it out at Legolas. He's whipping it out at everybody, and that chain is depicted around his neck here. You can see this big, thick ass chain, and it's been broken off here on this one anyway. In the film, this would have been the one he was whipping around because Legolas uses it to pin him to two pillars while he shoots him in the head with a couple of arrows. But this is before that point, obviously. I love the harness that they have around his neck that holds that chain in place. Like, it is tight enough around him that it should give pull if it was locked into any particular point. Like if they had it locked into a wall somewhere where he couldn't escape, which is also just super cool. The physique of the troll monster itself matches everything you would have seen on screen. I don't have much to say about the musculature or anything except that I love how it was done more in the back than in the front, I think. I'm seeing here in the back here, you can see, I'm sorry, on this side. If you're taking a look at this side right here, which is, to me, again, super cool that they're giving way to the motion of the character, right? This isn't just gratuitous. This is how the flex of the muscle or the skin would be if it was a real true-to-life form figure. And the fact that they've taken the amount of time that they've taken to illustrate that properly makes me quite happy. They, of course, have done this in the front. You can see the sags and the folds in the stomach area. One is heavier on one side and lighter on the other. And that is because, okay, the movement is left to right. So as he moves from left to right and right to left, that would change in our eyes. There's a foreshortening aspect of that because you can see he's got his right leg charged forward with his knee stomped out and foot in the middle. All the way down past his thigh, you have all of this really great texture. I mean, you want to call it cave troll, but it could be construed as turtle skin. It's got a lot of that sort of same thing you might see on a Mutant Ninja Turtle, to be honest with you. On the legs and the back, on the calf. The calf is obviously a calf muscle, but it's so massive. I mean, it's just so cool. Look how massive this calf is. So there's definition even though there's not definition in it. And they do that with these line striations that come back here. The difference in the patterning is how you tell where the depth in the leg is, to me anyway, which I think is also a very cool feature. They have that on both legs, doing extremely well. This back leg is lifted on its hind. You can see all that. So it almost appears that there's some softer elements to the foot deck down here, what you might expect. It's just really cool. Down to the heel, where the heel comes up and ripples over. If you guys get to see that up close, man, pay close attention to some of those really super good details. He's swinging his arm all the way back, the right arm back. That's the one that has this hammer device. I don't know exactly what to call it. It's not an axe. It's not a hammer. It's it's something else. I need to go look that up. But this seems to be one of the points where they had two pieces. Right here on this wrist lock here, you can see there's a line right here, right back here. It almost looks like this hand was a secondary piece that got put on. I mean, it's a small detail. It's a super minor detail. It's probably one I shouldn't even point out. But it's the other point because it looks like it's done that way again on this arm. So you can see that there's a line in here. So it looks like the hands might have been put on after the fact. Could be this whole arm here. I'm not sure. There is nothing on here enough to make me sit here and wonder about it too much. My job, I think anyway, is to give you guys 100% of my review what I'm thinking at the moment at the time. Sometimes it's significant, sometimes it isn't. That might be less significant than not. The weapon is movable. You can see that I'm moving it with my hands here. So there is some play to the weapon in the hand. It is not a molded structure, so it was put in after the fact, obviously. I love his paint job. He's got these grayish green things happening, but they're muted. There's no glossy effect here. Remember, this is a creature that basically lives underground. He's not going to see a lot of light. But that being said, take a look at his eyes. I mean, the eyes are really what capture your attention when you start looking at this thing first off. Giant blue eyes. Giant blue eyes. I had to go back and see if that was accurate, and it is. So it's really cool. I also love the mouth and the way the mouth is opening. Texturally, there's a tongue sort of wiggling around in the space. Moreover than that, if you pay special attention, and I am, take a look at those teeth on the inside molars there. They've been broken down, and that's obviously by virtue of chewing on something like bone. You're gonna mess up your teeth really bad. So he's got these sort of two front massive canines at the base of his mouth, and then at all the rest of his teeth seem like they're hard molars, and or they've been cracked and used for God knows chopping probably what was these dwarves down here on the bottom. So I think they did a really good job paying close attention to that. Also with the wrinkles around the eyes and the eyelids, the expression itself, it is one of horror. It is one of quick movement. Even though this is a freeze frame like all statues are, I get the sense of movement from the piece. It's because of the way they position the face. Sometimes they'll do these statues and they'll have the pose exactly right and the portrait wrong. If you get the portrait wrong, half the story is not being told. Now take a look at this particular statue by comparison. They've got the portrait exactly right. This is a screaming, horrific moment. This is a charging bull, if you will, sort of character in a cave troll. Its movement is projecting forward in one position, backward in the other. So between the movement of its muscles in the back and the foreshortening and the moving of its legs forward, this to me creates a very dynamic piece. It's something I keep staring at. I'm just staring at it and staring at it and staring at it. And I don't know how you guys do, but when I get new statues, I probably stare at them way too much. After I even unbox them and do all this stuff, I put them on the shelf and then I just have sessions with them. My one-on-one chats on how things go here in the room, when I'm not here. That being said, man, from the loincloth standpoint, maybe in the back, if I wanted to criticize anything, maybe this loincloth feels a little thick to me. Now, mind you, this is a massive cave troll, so goodness knows what fabric they actually use to try and cover his bum and his front pieces here. There is a very thin line of that fabric that attaches from the front to the back, so this loincloth is protected here in the front. And while I like the motion of the loincloth, here again, this doesn't move at all. This is a very thick piece, same as it is on the back. There's very little flex to them at all. And even though I like the movement in the piece itself, it does feel like the loincloth itself is a very heavy textural element. So I guess I would have hoped for that maybe to have been something a little lighter. Think Doctor Doom's cape. If you've got Doctor Doom, he's around here somewhere on the shelf. But Doctor Doom's cape, still has that plastic, but it's not as thick, maybe a little looser. That'd probably be a minor criticism. Everything else I really love about this thing. I love the format that they have the hand in, this 3-fingered claw situation that you have. And I'm going to lift it up because you get all this textural stuff inside the palm of the hand as well as on the top and by the wrist. So again, guys, kudos. This was a fantastic, I think, statue to bring to life in the Lord of the Rings universe. You cannot have any of the Lord of the Rings characters and not collect their big baddies. So if you have an opportunity to get the bad guys from the Lord of the Rings, especially in the diorama statue format, get them. Get them. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you will regret not getting them later on. Remember, I told you first. Now you do what you want. This one is definitely going to go on the shelf happily between the other two characters that I have right now. And I'm going to just continue to collect the rest of the Lord of the Rings pieces because it brings that sort of movie history back to life for me every time I look at them. They did a fantastic job with Aragorn. They did a fantastic job with Gandalf. And they did an excellent job with this cave troll. So that's it, man. This is Tony the Toy Rat for Dharma Select Toys, Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, and our friend the Cave Troll, because we have a cave troll. I'm giving this one 3 cheeses. And I am out!